United States, a 17-year-old man killed himself after fatally wounding a female student in a shooting at a Nashville school on Wednesday. The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, together with the high command, led the military march as part of the start of the first popular military and police exercise, Escudo Bolivariano 2025. And the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East reported Wednesday that the repeated Israeli incursions in northern West Bank have caused the displacement of at least 2,000 families in Jenin. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news, so stay with us. In the United States, a 17-year-old man killed himself after fatally wounding a female student in a shooting at a Nashville school on Wednesday. The shooting took place at Nashville's Antioch High School, where two other students were reportedly injured and are being treated in a city hospital. Authorities said that the situation is under control and have warranted there are no further threats that put students or citizens at risk. Meanwhile, the White House expressed its condolences to the victims' families and informed that President Donald Trump was closely following the whole incident. The school, with about 2,000 students, is about 10 miles southeast of downtown Nashville. The cause of the shooting is still under investigation. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, approved on Tuesday the investment of at least $500 billion for a project in artificial intelligence called Stargate. So far, it is the most expensive project in the history of humanity. Stargate is a project that consists of the creation of a mega artificial intelligence computer, which will have thousands of data centers stored globally. The project, which aims to position the United States as a world leader in artificial intelligence, will be built in the state of Texas and will be led by companies such as Microsoft, NVIDIA, and OpenAI. In this sense, the U.S. President assured that this investment will generate close to 100,000 jobs and will have, according to Trump, economic benefits for humanity.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did.
In the United States, 2 new wildfires are reported in the state of California as strong winds elevate critical conditions across the southern region. A blaze erupted in Los Angeles County's Catech area on Wednesday, affecting over 5,000 acres and forcing evacuations. Another fire broke out near Rancho Bernardo in San Diego County, growing to at least 7 acres and leaving at least 1 person injured. According to the National Weather Service, red flag warnings were in effect until Thursday for parts of Los Angeles, Ventura, and San Diego counties because of low humidity and an expected uptick in Santa Ana winds. In this context, it is worth highlighting that firefighters increased containment of the Palisades and Eaton fires that killed at least 28 people and destroyed more than 15,000 structures. However, an unprecedented snowstorm has been reported in the southern part of the United States, with the Lake Charles National Weather Service in the state of Louisiana warning about the first snowfalls. According to specialists, these weather events are the result of global warming and will be happening more frequently. Meanwhile, in Sarajevo, a layer of smog covered the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina for the second day in a row during the winter months. This is the time of the year when cities are polluted the most, since the countries of that region run their heating with coal and wood. In this sense, experts warned of the numerous health risks of this situation, as the air quality index in the territory is very unhealthy and ranks Sarajevo as the second most polluted city in the world.
According to estimates by international organizations, the World Bank and the European Environment Agency, between 3,000 and 5,000 inhabitants of Bosnia-Herzegovina die every year from diseases caused by polluted air. In other words, every 5 or 6 deaths here are caused by polluted air. In Sarajevo, 1 in 12 deaths is caused by lung cancer. It's very hard to breathe and to live in Sarajevo during these smog episodes, so we take every opportunity to go to the mountains. As I'm retired, I can afford to go to the mountains almost every day, especially at weekends. We walk in the mountains to avoid the pollution.
And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, led the military march together with the High Command at the opening of the first popular military and police exercise named Bolivarian Shield 2025. The Venezuelan president informed that this Wednesday the Integral Defense Board became active in all the states, municipalities, parishes and communes of the country. The head of state declared that Venezuela has had ample success in combating and defeating criminal groups, besides offering other nations the experience that the national security entities acquired during their operations. In this sense, Maduro announced that the drills would be carried out through Wednesday and Thursday on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of the 2015 Bolivarian Shield exercises.
We are activating at this hour the National Integral Defense Bodies in this command post, in this hill of Caracas of Fort Tiuna. The ODI, which are the bodies for the integral defense of all the states. The organs of integral defense, the ODI, which we activated in January. The state ODIs, the municipal ODI, the parochial ODI, and through the development of the exercise, we must reach the communal ODI, the territory. It is the most complete exercise from the point of view of its planning, and it must be the most complete and perfect exercise from the point of view of the defense of the territory. I say and I repeat, if you want peace, get ready to defend it.
Also in this context, the Venezuelan president ratified that former Colombian President Álvaro Uribe and Iván Duque are public enemies of the national armed forces and of the people of Venezuela.
Venezuela has had ample success in combating, defeating and dismembering at the root the criminal groups that generate violence as a priority. And today we can say that, with some exceptions in some places, these groups have been totally defeated and crushed. If any country wants the experience of Venezuela, I extend my hand for the fight against these violence-generating groups that have sustained, from Colombia, the paramilitarism, drug trafficking, the #1 public enemy of Venezuela, Mr. Uribe and Mr. Duque, legally declared by the National Assembly as public number 1 enemies of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces, of the people of Venezuela, and of the Popular Military Police Fusion.
Venezuelan Minister of the Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, confirmed on Wednesday that the criminal Wilexis Acevedo, accused of various crimes such as murder, robbery, and extortion, was killed during a security operation.
Today, in an operation at 7:30 in the morning, in an operative on the Petare-Santa Lucia Highway, Fila de Marich, La Lagunita sector, Filas de Sas Highway, during an armed confrontation, has fallen the criminal Wilexis Alexander Acevedo. One of the people who has done the most damage to the community of Petare. There are countless murders, extortions, that this individual executed with terror against the inhabitants of the municipality of Sucre and Caracas.
Likewise, Cabello assured that the criminal was linked to extreme right-wing politicians, recalling the Guarimbas of 2017.
It is important to remember the links of this person with the extreme right. Let's remember Venezuela, where the Guarimbas began and how they began in 2017. Let's remember they triggered acts of violence, in Petare, shootings, persecutions, wounded. That was the order for the groups behind the violence.
After these Venezuelan security operations, let's see now some aspects of the profile of one of the most wanted criminals in the country, Wilexis Acevedo. For years, Wilexis Alexander Acevedo Monasterios, also known as Wilexis, controlled the community of Petare through organized crime, violence, and death threats. According to reports, Wilexis was supported by the Venezuelan far-right and Colombian drug dealers in a plan to undermine the stability and security of the country. Wilexis also sent death threats against President Nicolas Maduro and Venezuelan government authorities, while intimidating the residents of Caracas with extortion and assassination threats, among other crimes. In Ecuador, amidst the violence crisis faced by the country, the general elections keep moving forward, and at least 13 million citizens have already been called to take part in the decisive event to be held on February 9th. For the elections, a total of 16 presidential candidates were formally registered before the National Electoral Council, who aspired to become the next president of the country for the 2025-2029 term. However, a few days before the campaign's closure and in the midst of protests driven by the increase of insecurity and the economic crisis, the candidates intensified their electoral propaganda with caravans and visitors to neighborhoods to attract more votes. Nevertheless, in spite of the protest, the electoral race is moving forward and the elections are expected to take place without any mishap. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, that you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East reported Wednesday that the repeated Israeli incursions in the northern West Bank have caused the displacement of at least 2,000 families in Jenin. The United Nations body reported that since mid-December, large-scale Israeli raids against the refugee camp in Jenin have left the camp in ruins and almost uninhabitable. The international agency also informed it is facing difficulties in providing essential services to the camp, as the magnitude of the devastation exceeds its capabilities. It also informed that the recent attack on the camp threatens to undermine the ceasefire reached just a few days ago in Gaza. The Israeli occupation forces have continued their siege on the Palestinians in the West Bank, increasing their presence on the roads in addition to blocking the entrance to several localities. The Tel Aviv regime closed roads and blocked access to several villages in Hebron on Wednesday, preventing the free movement of Palestinian citizens. The Zionist forces also installed an iron gate at the entrance of the village of Deir Ammar, west of Ramallah, in addition to the 18 iron gates and more than 898 checkpoints set up by the colonial army as part of its policy of collective punishment that hinders the daily life of the Palestinian population. Meanwhile, local authorities reported the illegal detention by Israeli forces of around 30 Palestinian construction workers in the area of Kirbet et Deir, southwest of Bethlehem. They also detailed that the detainees were subjected to harsh interrogations on the spot as part of the Israeli occupation's ongoing aggression against civilians and their property in several areas of the West Bank. Displaced Gazan citizens are returning home after over 15 months of aggressions, encountering an apocalyptic and devastating landscape in the coastal enclave. Many Gazan families are coming back to their homeland, in which 92% of all houses have been severely damaged by the constant Israeli incursions. Palestinian residents are now worried about the fact that they cannot recover what they lost. Some international organizations ensure that Israel has embarked on a scorched earth campaign with the objective of wiping out the possibility of life in the Gaza Strip. The European Union admitted that sanctions against Russia impact energy prices across the region. The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, acknowledged that energy prices across the European Union skyrocketed due to the interruption of ship supplies from Russia. Furthermore, the leader noted that the loss of Russian supplies made worse the European Union energy crisis. The authority granted that households and businesses are suffering power outages. However, bills are not going down. Von der Leyen said that before 2022, the European Union received 45% of the gas and 50% of the coal from Russia, and Moscow was one of the largest suppliers of oil to the European Union. In Spain, the 45th edition of the International Tourism Fair, one of the most important tourism events in the world, kicked off in Madrid on Wednesday. The event opened its doors at the Madrid Trade Fair Institution and will last until Sunday, January 26th. It will be attended by 9,500 companies from 156 countries and 884 exhibitors. In addition, the fair will have an agenda full of activities and great novelties by the most important national and global brands in the sector. On the other hand, according to data from the World Tourism Organization, during 2024, the number of tourists visiting Spain reached close to 94 million people, including prominent government officials and industry representatives. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.